Yeah.
This way I
So
can
that's
join the
that's
panel.
You know, the reason why I'm trying to come out to panels and kind of meet people and things like that.
That's a good way to start.
What do you use a Sony?
This is Nikon.
Oh, no, but I mean like for actual filming, what do you use?
I mean, this, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So so the past year I've been doing equestrian show jumping photography. So that's kind of like how I got started, just because my girlfriend's a groom. So I've kind of been following her to shows and working with a couple clients at the show, taking
So
pictures.
you're groomers and horses?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah. So that's kind of like how I got my start.
Very niche, man, but that's good.
Yeah.
That's cool.
All right,
You
so
start where you are, right?
Yeah. Right where you know, as they always say.
It's so crazy out here.
That's the problem with my students. Right where you know is like, playing video games is like in your room and leeching off your parents. Okay, we gotta work on that. Or
all right,
jump into some.
Raphael, we're gonna get started now.
Okay. Is it 12:30?
Is it?
It's after
12:29.
Yeah.
You know, like black people, we always early.
I got 12, I know, right? I got
Don't laugh,
12:30.
don't laugh.
I got
Colored people
12:33.
That's right. Colored people time is earlier. We're gonna
Yes.
start. We're going to 2023 with the earlier.
If you say so.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Right?
That's Cuban people. That's Caribbean people. All
If it
of
sounds like
them.
you're at 12:45.
So my name is Jeff Carroll. I'm a writer, filmmaker, comic book guy, all-out futurist. I'm the moderator and brain craft of this ensemble panel that is now probably in its 10th year or something like that, called the Monster Panel. So I'm going to just run it down from left all the way down, so it's no order. Troy Brenier is all-around cool guy, our resident scientist. What area do I describe it?
Geology.
Because geology, but is it
This is geoscience cover.
Okay, I knew it was geoscience. You can't say geology. You gotta go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Astrogeology.
I'm sorry.
Space rocks.
Right.
There's been actually quite a bit of that.
Oh, listen, there's no limit.
I like
So
that.
he's also the founder and curator, director of the MISIFI, Miami Science Fiction Film Festival. International. I forgot that part. Everything is international now. You better know that. And he's a father who has grown. And your daughter's name is?
Right?
Riley. Hello, Riley. She's been with us for some very emotional moments in the Monster Panel. We had talked about Black Panther and brought tears to our eyes. And Troy was one of those who had watered up on the panel. He's also a filmmaker. So Raphael is another cool dude, all around cool dude.
And producer.
I'm sorry, back to Troy, he's a producer. So Raphael is a producer, filmmaker. He was the curator and founder of the Miami Underground Film Festival. He's also a teacher of film, and his film, Attack of the Killer Donuts, is legendary, right?
Amazon Prime.
Okay, so on Prime now, hasn't made its way to my film platform of Tubi, but you know, I'm black, so I'm on Tubi, right? All right, and he's all around cool guy. So Raphael's gonna bring an area of specialty. Unlike me and probably even Troy, he took his film aspirations to Hollywood, and he made his film and cut his teeth out here in Hollywood. So he's one of the few that expanded outside of Miami. But like any good Cuban, he found his way back. And then at the end, we have Miss Aaliyah Sanford, who is the author and illustrator. She's of the few. I know Troy has appeared in his movies, and Raphael has appeared in his movies, but we're not really actors, right? But she is a real illustrator, and she actually illustrated her activities book and inspired me to do the same. So she is probably will beat Troy, but I will say they are the two top Trekkies that I know. All right, and she's such a Trekkie. In her book, she has a universe where music connects us, and it's a beautiful thing. I've actually been inspired to make music a part of my universe as a language and take it. You know, she takes it well beyond Close Encounters. So Close Encounters of,
Well, on
and
my
that was,
website, there's actually 3 songs that I wrote and my son did the music for.
right.
And that kids can download for free. There's
And
3
it
songs
ties
on my
right
website.
in to her book. We are 4 of the people that make the Monster Panel up. However, probably traffic, you know how people complain about Miami traffic. We probably have people, or they're probably on the old CP time, which the new to 2020, 2023 CP time is earlier. Okay, so they probably on the old CP time, but we'll wait on them. So that rounds us up. So thank you. We have Troy, Raphael, and Aaliyah, and I'm Jeff Carroll. So I'm going to start it off. Welcome to the panel, but we got to sink our teeth in. The first question, we've already, when I told them the questions, I'm not going to say we have big mouths. We just have a lot of opinions. Okay? That's it. Troy will call me, he'll kill me on the phone, and Aaliyah was already here in the booth. She couldn't even say hello. She was already into the first question. So the first question is, how do you feel about the recasting of T'Challa complaints? Because we saw Wakanda Forever, and he did not get recasted, and that's pissing people off. You know, the question was recast or not, and Ryan Coogler didn't answer it. He just led us to the sequel without Chadwick or without Black Panther being recast. How do you feel about that? Who wants to go first? Everybody gets a shot at it. You better get in before Leah does.
There you go, Troy.
Just no spoilers, because not everyone has seen the movie.
No,
Oh,
really?
come on.
Oh.
No.
You've never seen the movie by
How long is that?
Right. I give for
No
free
mercy
on my
will be
social
shown.
media. I give till the Monday after it comes out.
Okay, so no mercy will be shown.
I could have given you till Christmas,
Earmuffs.
but you don't get no spoilers now. We're gonna talk about Avatar. You're lucky I saw Quantum Mania last night. I ain't gonna spoil it for you, but everything else is on the table.
All right.
Yeah.
So spoilers alert.
You have been warned.
Yes, and we're actually gonna ask you why, because we had a panelist that didn't see it until very recently. So go ahead, Troy. What's your, how did you feel about it?
First of all, I thought they did a great job with the film. I thought the film was done very well. Casting was good. There's a little bit of changes regarding the tone
Right.
of the film, but overall, they did it. To answer the question,
Yeah, do that.
time. They can wait. They can wait. It's a
Right.
good enough franchise.
Yeah.
That has lots of momentum, and people are gonna stand online to see this movie. They can wait till the next film to recast T'Challa.
Right, I'll jump in and say they can do the Princess Leia type thing, and superimpose some flashbacks, and don't even have to recast, right?
In essence, they don't have to, because they buried the guy. So what are they gonna do?
Right.
They put him in the ground.
Well, actually, let me jump
Okay,
in.
you go next,
Yeah,
and then we gonna, I'll still jump in.
I'm gonna be the bad guy here, but they didn't even put him in the ground. Why did they not bury him? He gets sucked into a spaceship. I don't know where they take him. Why would you not bury him?
Well, it's not spaceship.
Okay.
But
So
still, you know what I mean?
Wakanda
Like,
technology.
but why would they not bury him in the ground?
Well, that's part of the mysticism of Wakanda.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and that's yet to be seen, which then still opens the door for his return.
Maybe they
A
shot him
potential,
into the
yeah.
galactic
a
universe.
potential return,
And
or
I
another
think the way it was
multiverse.
done,
Right.
that would have also been an environmentally conscious thing, the way they did it as well, you know?
I don't know.
I don't know how big the landmass of Wakanda is, but
You can't bury your king in Wakanda. There has to be space
No,
for
but
the king.
as far as environmentally good, you want to go back to the worm.
Exactly.
well,
I think.
if, you wanna go back to the word, but I mean, as far as space I'm talking about, I don't know how much the landmass of Wakanda.
So did you
is,
have
if
a
they
problem?
have space.
What is your answer to the
Yes,
question? Let
my
me keep you on
question
point.
is they should have recast because I think the character of Black Panther is too important to put on hiatus or to do what they did. What do I mean by that? How many strong black male superheroes do we have?
A lot in my
Yeah, quite a
universe,
few.
but.
Well,
I'm part of the world, so.
I think not enough, but all right, for mainstream people.
Okay, there you go.
For mainstream people, this is look at his role in the Avenger movies. Like I was telling you earlier, it's like, who's the guy with the arrow? I don't care about that guy. I
Right.
care about Black Panther.
Right.
And Black Widow, in black, and she has no superpowers. So
Right.
like he was such a main character, and in Civil War he was like such a great character that you have to replace. You can't just put him away. And then on top of that, this is where I gotta put on my.
I'm ready to go.
I'm a father and I'm a
He's
man.
good.
They replaced him with his sister. Look at the poster. There's
We'll let
4
the
women
audience
on that
see
poster. You see the movie, sorry, spoiler alert. The American scientist who's finding, I'm losing my track. Vibranium, woman. The head of the CIA, woman.
Good looking woman.
How is the queen the queen? In what kind of royal succession do you go backwards? Never. If
It was
T'Challa
only
dies,
sideways. It was only sideways.
But I
If
had
T'Challa
to anecdote,
dies,
you
the
gotta
princess
remember,
should
the
have
first
been-
film, they made a big emphasis on the powerful woman being showcased in the first film.
Right,
So
that
they
too.
probably trying to use that as a hindrance to actually get the momentum going forward, because they have no direction.
Well,
Okay,
don't
let-
let him
let-
stop. Don't let him stop.
But
Because we gotta stay. I want to get Aaliyah, and then I'm even gonna say something. Then we'll
But
go
again,
to-
I think there's a need for male, black leaders, heroes. We have him. The character's too important to do what they did, and I understand the emotional connection. And he was a fantastic actor, and it's a tragedy. But I'm telling you right now, if a bus hits Tom Holland, they're replacing his skinny ass, and they're getting another Spider-Man. They're
Okay.
not gonna go to Spider-Gwen.
Okay. Hey, they do have a Spider-Gwen.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so go ahead, and then whatever you leave for him.
I'm gonna get caught.
Okay,
I'm
don't
the
worry,
bad-
don't
I'm the
worry. You
bad guy.
already did it. Whatever you leave for him, I'll clean up. I got you.
Oh.
And Troy still got a comment.
I have to disagree. T'Challa has been recast.
Can we say it in front of?
Chad
Yeah.
Boseman, the actor who played that particular version of T'Challa, is irreplaceable. Period. End of story. You cannot. That's like putting somebody else as Malcolm X instead of Denzel Washington. You just can't.
Unless it's the Godfather.
You know, I mean, T'Challa, we're gonna get a new young T'Challa in the sun. There's precedent for it in the comics.
Little Asian.
We have a whole coming of age story to look forward to with T'Challa, as you know, as he grows into himself as the next Black Panther. We got a whole. How many movies can we get out of that? I mean, I'm looking so forward to it. I think that the way Ryan Coogler recast the role without replacing Chad Boseman, to me it was brilliant, and I'm in full agreement with it.
All right.
You know.
Now my turn. Ready. So the thing that I love the way he said it, right? So first of all, Black Panther, if we're going to accept it, is not Spider-Man. It's not Superman, and it's not Batman. All of those have had different actors playing because of different universes, different trilogies, and so forth. Black Panther's the only one that's a mantle. His father was a Black Panther in the same movie. So for everybody saying, oh, we have to recast, no, we don't. We will get another Black Panther because it's a mantle. We actually had 3 Black Panthers.
It's a title,
And
yes.
Killmonger was a Black Panther
Yes.
because he beat him. You understand? Because it's a contest. Now I get it that Shuri, because of the dilemma, which is a spoiler alert, became Black Panther without going through the contest, but they have a system where they don't ever have to recast anybody because it's not a person. That said, you know, I think it's a beautiful thing that they were able to go on without him. But the other argument that I use is when they do a recast, it usually comes along with a reboot. And Superman has been played by different people, Batman and Spider-Man, but never with the same universe. So you would have had to throw out all of that Wakanda universe
That's true.
because of one actor. And to me, it doesn't make sense. It's too much of a waste. And I like the other actors. I like M'Baku. But it would have been crazy to see M'Baku talking to another Black Panther just because of Chad. So I got it. It works in the universe. It also works because of the mantle, right? And film-wise, it was hard to do it. And sure, anything is all fake, right? Anything can be done, but you didn't have to do it. So that's my final argument, and I'll address the manhood stuff in the next question. Because I like the fact that you said that, but I'm not threatened by a woman in a super suit. You understand? I'm not threatened by a white man with all types of superpowers calling himself Superman. It doesn't affect my blackness, right? So Shuri doesn't affect my manhood. Neither does Riri. Neither does the
Queen Mother.
the Queen Mother, or any of them. So so that's the end. Troy, please take it
Well,
away.
I don't wanna deviate too much, but I think also Raphael's point is that, you know, from a business standpoint, you know, you've got all this financial momentum, incredible momentum worldwide. I saw Black Panther in Iceland. I was in Iceland when I saw that film. And I wanted to go into the theaters there to see what the community response was. People, they were loving it. They were cheering and going nuts. You know, it was really an experience for me.
Wow.
At the time, the first one I'm referring to. So, you know, I understand completely that, you know, we have all of this going. Let's keep it going. Let's recast somebody and keep the story going. Keep the seats full. In the theater.
Right.
So I understand that, but the way this was written,
It was beautiful.
this story, the way it was written, oh my goodness, it's a rewatcher. You know, it was done so well, the way it was told, the cast, the spins and twists they have, they didn't have to do anything else with it. You know?
And then they brought in Neymar, the whole Mexican.
Oh, man.
That was icing.
But yeah, that
and he
just
was
made you a-
indigenous. Oh, beautiful.
That's what was amazing about it, because he was indigenous. He
It
was
ties-
pre-colonial.
Yeah, and it ties in sharper than a serpent's tooth from that Star Trek animated series. Well, that's what they meant. They meant the same
Here goes
thing.
the Trekkie,
You know?
right?
That some alien that visited Earth during the time when this guy was in power running everything.
Right.
That's what brought memories back to me.
Did you have a rebuttal, or would you like anybody from
No,
the
I
audience
just
make
see
a
what they have
comment
to
on-
say, yeah.
Yeah, let's
Anybody?
open it up.
Okay, the one who didn't see it, let's go.
Oh, actually, he did.
Oh, no,
Great.
sorry.
I've seen it 3 times.
All right.
I'm Mexican, and
Oh, there
it
you
was
go.
awesome to finally see my people in the big screen. Villain, okay, you know, whatever, but still, it was
He's
amazing.
an anti-hero.
Yeah,
Anti-hero,
yeah,
yeah.
He's not,
Yeah.
he's not a joker. Let's not put him
Right.
in here.
Right.
Right.
Another thing too, I'm glad they didn't recast T'Challa because the actor was beloved.
Right.
So to replace him, like, he kind of sort of set that standard of
Set the
of that
standard.
actor, of that Black Panther. I'm not saying that there aren't other black men that would meet that standard, but it's like
Not for that
he
role.
he died in such a, you know, such like a heartbroken way. To have somebody else, it's like, I don't know, it just wouldn't mesh. I just kind of feel like it wouldn't mesh.
It's gonna take 10 years for another character to come up to replace that.
Spoiler alert.
Right.
It's basically, we're looking at 10 years.
Yeah.
Somebody's
yeah.
gotta grow up.
So the way he
look-
ended it, the way he ended the movie with,
Now, if they have another actor
Fantastic.
play T'Challa's son a little older, I'm not even upset with that.
Exactly.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Because we've seen different actors play the same character in different stages.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I'm ready for CGI Chadwick. You know, and maybe he wouldn't even have to.
what did I walk into?
No.
All right, so you have to jump in at the end of this question and make your comment quick. But that's how I feel. I think the beautiful thing about him is he's a character that wears a helmet. You can show Black Panther in flashbacks interacting with the same Iron Man, the same Captain America, and his full superhero form in his helmet. Now I know when he's not fighting, he takes off. Yes.
But was Black Panther liked because of the suit or because of the man behind the suit?
Well,
Man
I'm
behind
just
the suit.
saying, I know it was the actor.
Right.
But I'm just saying he had a stunt double, so he wasn't him even fighting.
Yeah.
So,
He did do some stunts.
right, he did some stunt, well, those were
Sick
without.
as he was, he did some stunts.
Right, because he didn't always fight with his suit on.
Right.
But for the safety of the film, he can go back and they can shoot real footage, real time with whatever. If Kang the Conqueror, you know, becomes the next Thanos in this phase 4, whatever the old T'Challa can come back, be fighting him, and he can say, yeah, I took down Black Panther. He'd be like, get out of here. You know, so we're gonna pause for a second. I'm gonna introduce our 4th panelist. and that is Mr. Keith Wade. Of course, we know that there's still people on the old CPT time. what is it?
I was
CPT
running
time.
around, I couldn't find where this thing was.
Trust me, I got lost this morning too. I was here last year. But Keith Wade is a filmmaker. He's a resident actor. He's an instructor of acting. He's been in 4 of my movies, right? So he's there. He used to teach at Florida Memorial, and he is now also a comic book writer and a novelist. So he has the second book of his series that he'll be signing at my table, which is like the Monster Panel table now. So Keith, please join us. You have Raphael, Troy, and Aaliyah all on the panel. We just wrapped up. So all you can say, so get to the next question, is how did you feel about the recast or not recast of Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa?
You know, hi.
And mind you, somebody's gonna get pissed off, and they're gonna have to respond to you because you didn't hear what we said. But go
Got
ahead.
an issue, here's a tissue. Anyway, at first I was all team recast because of course I thought, you know, with Christopher Reeve's death, there was continuity, Superman, blah, 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 blah. But then I saw the film, and I recognized that the film itself was an act of memoriam to Chadwick. And that's the artistry.
That's satisfying.
Yeah, that's the artistry of what of the film was about. So it made perfect sense to me that they didn't recast it.
Time to breathe, basically.
Huh?
They gave everybody time to breathe.
Exactly. And you know, coming out of the pandemic where so many of us lost so many people, the film acted as a sense of mourning for everyone. It was a sad film, and artistically it was beautiful in that it was about mourning. It was about the understanding of loss, and so it totally it made a lot of sense to me that they didn't recast him. So I'm definitely on that tip. And now, you know, the art of storytelling is that you can make any story. There's always a way to go around something. So I'm looking forward to how they create another Black Panther based on his son, Tristan.
Wow, see, now,
very much
you balance it.
That guy
So
didn't-
Troy still wants to say
10 years. But I already said what I had to say.
Okay.
But just say the only thing I would add to anything is that it's some of the finest movie making magic that there is.
Yeah, absolutely.
All
And I
right.
like what the gentleman said here about, because Chad, in real life, had a very private memorial service. This gave all of us an opportunity to share in, you know, mourning the actor, you know, and it was really, really a beautiful shared experience that I think we all needed.
Yeah, and I think that was a beautiful point to make, Keith, because I have a friend that had trouble getting over their loss, and I told him, I said, see, that's how you can grieve. You can find a place for it. And that is another addition to the movie's greatness, that it was able to be a reference point. So, all right, we're gonna move on. Let's get it on.
Yeah.
Oh, did you have something else you wanted to say?
Well, I don't think I'm gonna convince anybody, but
Last
I'm
point.
gonna put on my producer hat, and unfortunately, everyone is replaceable. When it comes down to that, everyone is replaceable.
And as they should be, right?
Yes.
Because they're all, unless it's, you know, you playing
It's a
yourself
producer
as
relation.
what is it, Muhammad Ali did in his movie, that probably would have been a problem, right? Playing, he was in I Am the Greatest or something like that, the greatest, he played himself, that probably would have been a problem. But every other person, you are correct, as they should be, because they're actors, right? All right, so next question, to build on you, Raphael, we are not going to act like QAnon and flat earthers and conspiracy theorists don't really exist. They do exist. And when I say they do exist, excuse me if anybody is in here that feels that way, right? But you felt that you could ignore them. But now the reality is they can impact what we do. Same thing with the mainstream and indie world. I'm an independent creator. Everybody here is independent creators, right? We all did film, books, and comics. But do we read mainstream stuff? Do we go watch? We just had a question about Black Panther, and there's this thing that, oh, they're not going to represent us correctly, so why do you even watch them? And that's a question that's said a lot. I support indies, right? All these people are indie, right? And we're promoting our stuff. So this panel supports them. I read indie books. And I also know who Luke Cage is. I'm also happy when Black Panther came out, you know, because I remember what the mainstream is able to do. So that said, let's hear. Do you read mainstream? What is the importance of why is the mainstream important to you, and why do you watch it? Why do you care what Black Panther does? Why do you care what DC does? Why do you care what Marvel does? You know what I'm saying? Why do you care what James Cameron does with his Avatar stuff? Why do you care what they do on Star Trek? Aaliyah, you go first, or Keith, you can go first, and we'll make sure everybody answers it.
I'm very much concerned because these are the people with a huge platform, and representation matters. And I think that there's room for everybody, so it shouldn't be exclusive to the mainstream creators with their big budgets and their far reach, but it is an opportunity. And I think that you can find opportunity anywhere. And you can start in the mainstream and go indie, or vice versa. It should all be accessible, and it should all be available, and there should be representation on many, many levels. So I would never count out the mainstream when it comes to representation, even though I'm gonna continue to fight for independent creators.
All right, Keith?
I'm going to be mainstream, so I would not be supportive of it. I mean, George Lucas was an independent creator at one point. Everybody was.
Yeah, right.
The only reason why they're mainstream is because they got recognized by the industry and got a bigger budget. So everybody aspires to be that. So I got inspired by George Lucas and Gene Roddenberry and Tawana Reeve-Dew and Octavia Butler, and all these people started somewhere. So the nucleus of it is you in your room with a dream and a pencil and a pad.
So you make me interject a little add-on question, right? Idris Elba just came out saying, don't think of me as a black actor.
Foolishness.
Right. What is it? Nia Long said, we shouldn't even call things black anymore.
Foolishness.
Right. So you disagree.
I disagree completely.
And
why?
And I understand that, but in the same thing, you're saying you're mainstream. So when you say you're mainstream, is there need for anything to be labeled black?
Absolutely.
Okay, why?
Because we're not bored. We will not all be assimilated. This isn't a melting pot. It's a salad. All of us can maintain our individual culture and
You have to
gender.
say that.
Huh? I mean, why not? I mean, that's what makes us
That's my
different.
total analogy.
You know what I'm saying? It's about the individual being a part of the whole, and that whole being enhanced by the individual accomplishment and contribution. It's like, I can't cook arroz con pollo, but I have a friend who can.
Right.
And I don't want that person to be just I want them to be Boricua. I want them to be Dominican. I want them to be from Nicaragua. I want them to be who they are and not be me, because
You don't believe in cultural appropriation.
No.
So you don't go to Chipotle, right?
No, I eat all of it. I'm mainstream.
Okay.
But I still recognize that the person who made that comes from a specific place.
Okay. Raphael?
Once again, I'm the bad guy here.
Oh, another one!
Here we go.
I don't care about the mainstream. DC and Marvel are irrelevant to me, but I don't think I'm their target audience. So I think everybody's happy. To me, I like image better or indie.
Okay.
I'm a certain age where a lot of things I'm not the target audience. I'm okay with that. I'm okay for that to exist.
We all in the same generation.
I'm okay for the new Star Wars. I don't care for it. To me, it's the original trilogy, and I'm done.
Whoa.
And it's okay. Maybe I'm in the wrong, but I'm happy with that.
It is.
The cavalry's not coming. If you want to represent who you are, or who you are, create it yourself. Because if you're gonna wait for mainstream to do it, you're gonna be older than we are.
You know,
And I've always lived in the independent world. Like you said, I've been to LA. I don't want any part of that.
right.
LA is you have 10 meetings, 5 years pass by and nothing happens. I don't have that kind of time. I'm not anymore. I will die, so I have a time frame where I have to create.
Wow.
And I like buying these. I like buying indie guys. I'd rather do that. I don't want to give the Mouse or Marvel or DC any more money. They can have the kids' money. I ain't giving it to them.
Okay, well, dog, I hate to pull your
Okay,
hold on,
let Troy go, let Troy go.
Dog, okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Troy.
That was an act. That was, folks, to be honest, that's mainstream.
Oh,
That's mainstream. It's driving creators out of their minds in big budget projects. I hear it.
right.
And that's why there's so much discourse. But at the end of the day, it sells tickets.
Right.
And that's what the game is all about. If you and how I know, it's evidenced in WWE, what is it? WWE or whatever wrestling. They always change that too.
Right.
But it's the same formula. For me, we're living in a golden age of science fiction. We're in a new golden age of science fiction, and it's bigger. It's bigger than it was in the 80s and early 90s.
Wow.
It's bigger. It's bigger.
It is the culture.
Yeah. And how we know that is because the most nerdiest sci-fi, the most like technologically crazy buzzword craziness was The Expanse.
Wow.
People are saying that's the best sci-fi series of all
The
time.
one that copied from your movie.
Yes, it did. It copied
so
from
happens.
Planet X. It's a complete copy from Planet X.
Yes.
But you can only be humbled by it because I don't know if I'd ever be able to do anything.
What was the central thought that they commoditized water? Or what was the central?
That's coming.
Yeah. But what was the element in your movie that The Expanse took? Was it just multi-habitat?
Oh, many things. One thing is that it portrays a diverse future.
Okay.
So everybody's mixed.
Right.
Everybody's mixed in The Expanse. There are more black people. Let's just call it. There are more black people in The Expanse than in like every sci-fi movie that's been played the past 10 years.
But it's more honest to the diversity on Earth, right?
Oh yeah,
There's
yeah.
more people of color
It's
than
more
there are,
accurate. It's
right?
an accurate representation of where we're going.
Okay. All right. My answer to the mainstream, I'll go music, right? Because music divides up. I look at the Grammys. That's not even music, right? Is that music?
It's an evaluation.
Everybody's a
Not anymore,
multimedia
right.
artist now, right? So I look at the Grammys, the Oscars, and all those awards that they call American awards. And I used to say they are foreign awards to me as a black person. Instead of me getting frustrated with being snubbed every year, I just said, that's a foreign award, I looked at the Soul Train Awards and the BET Awards as more inclusive of my people. Now, does that connect to what Keith is saying? Yes, it does. Because then I'll look at people of diversity as to being a global community. And we fit into that global community. So, do I like Asian Kung Fu movies? I absolutely do. That's mainstream there. Do they have any diversity? Absolutely not. Unless they fighting a person who does Yoda, yoga style, or they got a black samurai or whatever. But most of the movies are straight Asian. I enjoy them. I like European movies. Sometimes they don't have, or Russian movies. Sometimes they don't have full diversity. But if I go there, having traveled to certain places, a lot of places, there's some places that are not diverse. Most places on the planet are diverse now, So we are moving to where Troy goes. But to your point, yes, Raphael, I do like the mainstream mostly because it's like what Troy says, man. It's sci-fi. We live in a sci-fi golden age. I don't hold it. I still have problems. I will have problems with Avatar: The Way of Water. Come on, cultural appropriation is reality. You got all these people walking around with braids. Come on, it felt like Bo Derek, wearing braids on her cover. So a cultural appropriation is real and it is problematic. So do I still scrutinize them? You absolutely right. Do they gotta get it right? Yes. So, Keith is next, then Troy. Keith, then Troy.
Go ahead, Troy.
No, I was gonna say is that there's a lot of overlap now. The reason why we're in this golden age is because the independent creators and the big budget creators, there's all this overlap. How do we know this? The Mandalorian is a fabulous example because it has great storytelling that's just going on and on. They're talking about 4 seasons now. They're going all the way to 4
Even
seasons.
Yoda will grow up.
Baby Yoda, yeah, Baby Yoda. You know.
He's 800 years old. They'll be like, we're on the 2000th episode.
And it's best, in my opinion, Star Wars is best. The evidence comes out best in Andor. That's
Absolutely.
the
It's
best Star
amazing.
Wars of all time.
It's
Up
a
there
dope
with the
Star
Star
Wars.
Trek.
But let me, I'm sorry, I have to call Bishop. Anybody in here, if Jon Favreau or Dave Filoni walked in this room right now and offered you a development deal, who's gonna turn it down? Who's gonna turn it down? Anybody? You're mainstream. Please. Come on, bro.
I didn't say I wouldn't take the deal.
Oh, everything you said before
No,
that
I'm
is
not gonna
bullshit.
chase it. If he comes knocking, fantastic. I'm not gonna chase it.
But it's not gonna stop you.
But it's the thing about
it's not gonna
it's the
stop
thing
me. I'm
about
not gonna
being an
wait for it.
honest creator. I think there's this
Would Tyler Perry get you?
no time.
See, that's Achilles' heel right
No, that's not gonna happen. But I don't like his work. I'm not a fan of his
Well, but
work.
if he just produces.
I
You
know.
know what?
Let's not get outside,
Now,
Travis.
from the outside looking in, because I'm definitely not in your world. But what makes mainstream mainstream? And what makes indie indie? And mainstream, it just poof out of nowhere. It fed off of indie, correct?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
anything that is indie is going to be mainstream. The only reason it's mainstream is because of the outlet, correct?
Well-
The ability to produce a certain amount.
To answer your
Availability.
question, there's different variations in different mediums. In music, they used to try to ward off what is now hip hop. And they used to say, oh, it don't matter how many Run DMC sold, it's not popular music and it's not mainstream. So then EPMD came out with the crossover.
Trust
So
me,
we
Robert,
cross
I
over.
know.
So with film, it's now theatrical. First of all, we are all here because of racism, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're a Cherokee or a Cree or what is I forgot the Miami Indians, right? We don't even know their names, right? Or you're trading with them, you are brought here because of racism, right?
Yeah.
And that white dominance is what came up with these categories to keep out certain areas that could dominate the mainstream or what would be classified as mainstream. And that's why some people like Jimi Hendrix say, don't put no classification on me. Because all you're doing is trying to limit me to make somebody who steals from me greater. You understand? That's why we know Elvis Presley and we don't know who he stole from, right?
But you're not going to be able to stop mainstream from doing that. They're always going to be stealing.
Well, fortunately, because of demographics and population and weak borders, right? The mainstream is shifting. America is going to be majority minority, and minority is only a word to describe the population in America, because in reality, black people and people of color are the majority.
Gotcha.
And we only call them minority because of racism.
So if I'm hearing correctly, the mainstream that was before is no longer the mainstream that's now.
It's shifted.
It probably
It's
was,
totally
never
shifted.
was. Chuck D just did a little podcast, and I'm just talking about music, right? And talked about hip hop was always bigger than American music because people do it all over the world, and they do it in all of these different languages, and it's been doing that for over 20-something years, since the 80s. You
If
know,
I share my personal, I didn't even know there was other music besides hip hop until I was about 7 years old.
well, shoot, I
never
mean,
heard nothing besides hip hop until I was
again,
like 7.
and Jamaicans have a right to argue that reggae is bigger than American music, at least by a global appreciation.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So again, mainstream is an American term that I think is racially motivated. That's my personal opinion. However, you know, I will say I want to be in the theaters. Hollywood does have big budget stuff, and if we want to say mainstream is big budget, fine. If we want to say that DC, Marvel distributed nationwide, fine. Then I want to be distributed globally. So maybe we'll say it that way, but the terminology is stop worrying about what James Cameron does. You always worried about what they talk about in Wakanda. You know, those people don't want to look at you. They got global agendas. They're the ones that's forcing people to culturally appropriate. You know what I'm saying?
My question would be, are those people creators?
Well, we don't know. Sometimes they are creators. There's people in Hollywood that will speak. Isaiah Washington, he used to be a top actor. He says it. What's Michelle? What's the Asian actor?
Michelle Yeoh.
Michelle Yeoh. She said it when she was accepting her award speech, being forced to do different things because of her ethnicity. Even though I like all of us. What was it?
Everywhere.
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 That was like top.
She's from
Top 2 of my movies last year.
for that.
Right, but again, why did I like it? Because it was Asian, it was authentic Asian culture and authentic Asian speculation. You know, so again, I like what Keith said earlier about the salad bowl because I love international food. But I don't like Chipotle. I like my Mexican food from Mexico. And not from some white person that says, "Hey, I can make a burrito." No, you can't.
And Isaiah Washington just did a movie on Boss Reese, which is a real character.
Yes,
in the
yes.
Old West,
And he
who was
did
a
it
black
independent.
sheriff.
Yeah, Boss
Yes,
Reese.
and he did it what? Wait, was that?
Yeah.
And he did it independent.
Thank you.
But
Hey,
again,
all right, the thing is, look, the world has changed thanks to the internet. Everything is global.
right.
So mainstream, I think, is an American term. I think when we're talking about, I'm talking about that, the American market. The American market doesn't want what I want to create, and I don't have any grudge against it. I have the world. I don't
Right.
need the American market because my taste and what I write, I think suits better somewhere else.
Okay, so let's roll this to Keith's question. I can roll this.
I gotta respond.
Okay, and I can roll it right into your question next.
Because that's not fair. It does want what you produce. The only issue is, the only hurdle you have is getting it out there.
Exactly.
That's it. Because if you look at who's watching what these days, it's not what's on prime time. So look at some of these
Small
YouTube
is
channels.
big.
Yeah.
Some of these YouTube channels, they have way more views than CNN has.
I'm about to get me a Tubi shirt because all my movies is on Tubi. So to roll to Keith's question, right? Keith had a question, and I think it's exactly what you was going to say, but I didn't want to cut you off. Keith asked, "Do you think the mainstream or the industry or whatever we want to call it is allergic to black sci-fi, cultural sci-fi, diversity in things?" Because, like Troy said, they keep blowing the, Luke Cage crashed Netflix. Wakanda screened all over the world. I never seen movies succeed like that without the promotion that you need for a Mission Impossible. You know what I'm saying? So, I think diversity is what keeps, Fast and Furious
That's
going
what-
along.
that's what- yeah,
Right.
Fast and Furious, yeah.
Vin Diesel is a master at diversity without cultural appropriation. He shares his white space with everybody, So Keith, I'll give you the first comment, make it's your question, but I totally understand it, and I'll go last within the comment.
Okay. So within the last 2 years, Watchmen, Lovecraft Country, and Kindred have all got one season on major networks, major distribution.
Kendra was trash, I'm sorry.
What do they all have in common?
Had to snap.
Several things.
Black lead.
Black female lead, sci-fi, and nothing in regards to the criminalization or gentrification of people of color in none of these series. And all of them only get one season and they're gone. But a film or television show like Power or BMF or several other crime-based criminalization series get multiple seasons. Why? Because people of color are identified or accepted more with criminalization and poverty than they are intelligence and the future.
Possibly.
Simple.
And so,
Definitely.
okay.
Denzel Washington
That's
wins
true.
his Oscar for what role? Training Day. Doesn't win it for Malcolm X, doesn't win it for all the other
Okay.
good roles, but for Training Day where he plays a crooked cop, that's where he gets the Oscar.
Okay,
I'm
but
with
that-
you. I'm the good guy on this
But that's,
question. Yes.
there's a conspiracy theorist in you guys. I will say, again, that's a foreign film award. He received a lot of accolades from Denzel, from his first role, Soldier Story, you know, from being a part of that play. So black people award in a different value to me than the white community, because it's not the mainstream. It's really the white community. They awarded him for Training Day. We awarded him for Malcolm X. We awarded him for every time he says, "Don't you hit me." You seen the compilation of Denzel getting
Glory?
Yeah, all of it, Glory, everything. So I like what you said. My reaction to that is, part of it is I have a doctor co-worker, right? And she loves everything Tyler Perry. She loves everything Power. She loves everything MF, or whatever I don't even know the name of it. Snowfall. She loves all those shows. And I will say, I can't call us African. We have to accept that we African American. And some of the traits of the mainstream white community, we have accepted and embraced. And that is a love of crime, catching criminals, law, deviance, counterculture. Like my book here is called Cyberfunk. What's the difference between cyberfunk, the black cyber world, and the cyberpunk world? Cyberpunk is counterculture. It is rebelling against the machine. It's doing all this deviant behavior. It's glorifying criminals, right? If you ever seen the Cyberpunk series on Netflix, it's kids doing drugs. You rooting for drug dealers, okay? That is their thing. The black version is just more like futuristic worlds, and it doesn't do that. So yeah, there's a part of us that are fans of that stuff. And personally, using Kindred was a bad example. Because I felt it was not authentic to the book, right? It wasn't like the comic book. And they tried to pander towards the middle too much, and they made the lead black woman character, which is a black woman in this story on the first date with a white man, and they get taken back to slavery. And I just felt that it showed slavery as only oppressing women, and it's like, oh, by the way, the black guy got whipped. But
So can I ask you a question?
So to me, I didn't like it.
But the truth is that black women were oppressed way more in their slavery time.
I'm not even gonna make it a competition, right? Because, I'm not even gonna make it a competition. I'm just gonna say, if we both in a Holocaust gas chamber, yes, women is getting burned and it may feel different to a woman, but I'm gonna say as a man, I have daughters, I have a mother. It hurts me too. And just like I'm not gonna own your pain, stay away from my pain, because we are both suffering. So I don't wanna get into that. And I think that's part of why I didn't like it, is because it pitted us against each other.
So let me ask
and
you a
I
question.
didn't like
just
that.
On the face of it.
Right.
If you hadn't read the book, would you like the film or the show?
I don't know. And I think when I read the reviews, a lot of people, but we're in a world where they hated Wakanda forever, they hated,
that's the macro,
but-
that's the micro.
But understand,
the macro and the bigger picture.
right, but just because, first of all, it wasn't an original story, and we saw what they did to Harriet. That's not a correct portrayal of Harriet Tubman either. And so we do live in a world where there are things happening to portray black men as a certain thing. If you don't believe me, watch the movie Claudine. Claudine, they took the black man out of the family on purpose. That's why we have so many people paying child support now and want to be a part of their family's lives. So we can't act like that's not a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy, it's reality. It's as real as COINTELPRO. So the fact that they more feminized the story from the source material, which was already feminist, because Octavia Butler is a black feminist, is problematic. So just like you asked me, then you have to accept the reality that they even made it more oppressive.
I don't have to accept anything! No, I'm just joking.
I'm sorry. Anybody else? We dominated that.
Good.
Sorry.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Oh, wow.
But the original question is are we allergic to
Is the industry
allergic to diversity? Probably we could say.
And to simplify it, to keep it as simple as possible. It has a lot to do with the producers. Who the people are that are putting money on the table for films be produced. They want to produce things that make them comfortable.
Yes.
Ooh,
And this is the
is
reason.
it the Santa's film?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So understand
I'm
that
sorry.
whoever, the money that's behind these projects
Time out.
also decides.
Time out, I brought politics.
You on time out.
Also decides on how it's done.
Yeah.
You know, who dies first, and who makes up what the setting is like.
That's a good point.
But do understand the age that we're living in. Once again, not to repeat myself, but the age we're living in this golden age of science fiction, there's a lot of overlap. So you'll see white directors that have black leads in their film.
Right,
And
because
so
it's
forth.
liberals thinking.
As an independent, running of the Miami International Science Fiction Film Festival, we're getting hundreds of films from all over the world, and I'm seeing stuff and I'm blown away every single year. And even more blown away how many people in Miami don't show up. But
Well, part of it, we promoting that here. So
yeah, marketing plays a very big deal.
I'm glad you came out.
Anyway.
All right, Aaliyah, Raphael,
We had
comment.
an audience member that
You
had
wanna comment?
something to say.
Oh, yeah, I think to your point that sci-fi is kind of gatekept racially, earlier you were saying that there's a lot of media that's mostly portraying like people of color, especially black people, in like criminal environments. But I think that is because of the genre, because there are a lot more POC-led media, especially black-led media, that is more like comedy-based or like romance-based. Like Bridgerton's coming out with the Queen story, which is a black female-led program, but that's a romance series. It's not a sci-fi series. And then there's I May Destroy You, that was like wildly acclaimed. Again, it's not a sci-fi genre. It's more, I don't know, like a drama.
Yeah, it's a drama.
You would say,
There's
yeah.
Moonlight, which won an Academy Award, and it was
But
directed
it's
by
also a
somebody
drama.
who came here, who was living here in Miami in the
I was part of that.
Yeah, he was a part of the television show.
That was an amazing movie, and it was about a gay man coming to terms with sexuality, and his best friend also coming to terms with his sexuality later on in life, and it won an Academy Award.
Yeah.
And it
You
was,
know, and I even argue, but this is a digression. But I don't even argue that it was a gay story. I think it was just very a man coming into his emotions and sensitivities.
Yeah, coming to
which
terms with it.
people equate with gayness, but real men don't live in a box. And black men or any man, we all cry, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. We hug each other, we console each other during pain and hardship, but that's reality. All right, anybody else make a comment? Because we got the
A
last
quick
question.
one for that of sci-fi. Again, the problem is that the producers, the people that are putting up the money, what they care about is what's the market they're after, and we talked about it briefly, is the Chinese market. The American film industry is whoring itself for the Chinese market
Yeah, everybody.
because they erased John Boyega from the Star Wars poster. How do you justify that? Go for it. Justify erasing the one character.
And that was in my
out of the
PowerPoint.
movie.
I had a PowerPoint for this, and John Boyega
I
was
want
the
an
head of
Asian
this question.
representative to tell me, why did you remove the one character? Why?
When he's
There's no
this-
justifying
That's
that.
like
There's no
saying,
justifying
we
that.
taking Jaws off the poster.
Because we don't like sharks.
Right, no, but is it? I'm not sure
you
about
did
Star
change the
Wars,
movie.
but I'm not sure about Star. But I know Star Trek was partly financed by money from China.
Everything's
But it
that
still
may have
is
been
the
same-
movie.
But that still could have been the case with Star Wars. I'm not sure.
Everything is
When this
partially-
falls back into what I'm saying,
The
is
Chinese
who's
market
putting the
is
money
the
up
biggest
inside.
market out there.
and everything is partially financed by them because we're laundering money for the Chinese. That's what the movie
Here we
industry
go.
is.
More politics.
But that's another panel for another time.
Right. Question. So the next question, and that's beautiful, but I love that we went there because that's reality, right? And we can Google search it, and if it fuels, I'm a school teacher, we got teachers up here. If it pushes you to Google, then that's also a good thing. And the truth is out there, so you go out there and find it. We are saying what we found to be true ourselves. So that covers us. We ain't pushing no agendas. We just saying what we feel and challenge me. I'm welcoming. LeBron is better than Kobe. I mean, or Michael Jordan. All right. So the last question.
That's not even
That's what
I'm
I
the
know.
bag on that one.
That's what I'm debating right now. All right. So the last question brings me to two books that I have here. we were talking about how do we want to close it off. We always want to talk future when we're talking future, right? That's crazy, but it makes sense, right? Double entendre, I forgot the literary device that it is. But this is the black comic book company Milestone. They got acquired with Dwayne McDuffie to DC. And on this comic book, they actually have Icon and Hardware fighting each other. So to me, this is really futuristic, and I bought this comic book because of this. Yes, it is mainstream. Yes, it is independent. But it's amazing that we have black heroes going out and having such a universe now that they're creating a universe. There are no white characters in there. There's two black characters fighting each other. Yes, it's like Captain America and Iron Man, because neither one of them are villains, but it's so interesting. I haven't read it yet, just got it from the store Thursday, but tomorrow morning I'll be cracking it open. This other one here is Blackula. Oh my God. I've been waiting for so long for a black person, and this is a black comic book company. The brother who wrote Falcon and Lando, who wrote the Wu-Tang Clan TV show, who wrote for Boondocks, Rodney Barnes, has his own company, and he acquired a brand.
So he's going to redo Blackula?
Yes!
Oh, wow.
Oh my God.
The first black vampire out of Transylvania.
Yes.
Oh my
So
goodness.
imagine if LeBron takes himself off of the Cavaliers and puts himself on a black basketball team. It says, I bought the Harlem Globetrotters and they're going to be in the NBA. That's what that feels like. Because yes, sometimes our best black creators do creations for the mainstream and for Chinese, not laundered money, but Chinese money or whatever. So the question is, those are mine, right? Think, so in your answers, people think Ryan Coogler, think Jordan Peele, and think Octavia Butler. I couldn't think of another writer, without shouting my people out. But what do you think is the future of this? I know you got some film people, but what do you think is the future of like black sci-fi or cultural diversity in science fiction? Answers and we're finished. So
I'll make mine short. It's going to depend on the viewers, what the viewers want, because right now the public, the mob, is making a lot of the decisions. Where do you see that mob going? Point us to something. Reference somebody. Do you think Jordan Peele is that future? Do you think Ryan Coogler is that future? Where do you see? I'd like to see Ryan Coogler in a really good sci-fi. Why not?
Yeah.
I think he definitely has.
I want Wakanda to go to Wakanda Galactic Empire, and that's where we have some connection. But they went underground. That's fine. I like Savannah, and they brought in the Aztec.
Did you like him in Fahrenheit?
Oh yeah. So I'm ready to go to the Galactic Empire.
I think Jordan Peele is definitely the future, but when bringing up Wakanda, you know what I would like to see? I would like to see kind of what Tarantino does. He gets to change history.
Right.
In Glorious Bastards, they killed Hitler. You know what I would like Wakanda to do? I'd like them to start being a real global power in Africa. I want them to go to the Congo and be like, we're gonna help you guys. Why is it that, and we're gonna get into politics.
Kick the Chinese out. Watch out.
How is it that Africa is a continent, and that's a lot of different countries, is so rich in all resources, and is still poor? That doesn't make any sense. Why is that?
And we all.
Well, that was Killmonger's whole point.
Right.
Well, Killmonger is the good guy in that movie, I think, and so is Neymar. What does Neymar want? He wants peace and he wants to protect his people. All he wanted was a scientist. Any real leader would have killed that scientist.
This is why I like the Woman King, because it showed how we all African.
But I would like to see something like that where it's like it's not real, it's fake. Why can't we even show that? So why can't we show a powerful Wakanda that's really a global power?
So I forgot to bring this comic book, and you were real cool. It's called Earth Something, and I'll put it on my page. But it's an indigenous American post-apocalyptic story. It's ongoing right now. It's on book 3, so you can still go to your comic book stores and get it. Earth Something. But their goal is to kill Christopher Columbus. And they found a time machine to go back in time and kill Christopher Columbus, because if Europeans never came here, the world would have never been destroyed. So they're in the post-apocalypse, and they go through the time machine, and I just want to get to the part where Columbus is like, no, don't kill me. Like, ugh. So that's my, that would be my part.
Real
But
quick
that's
also,
a good.
not to like take up too much time, but Riververse Eric July, regardless of his politics, this is an independent comic book guy who sold on his own $4.9 million worth of content. That's what you got to do. Thanks to the internet, yes, it's a hard road, but we can create our own thing and put it out there, and the world is a big place.
Yeah.
All right, Keith, Aaliyah, do you have anything
The
to add?
future is right here. It's right here, right now. It's available for you right now on sale.
I was gonna say-
Issue number 2 of The Chronicles of Shar Malazi.
Booth 11 will be signing copies of our
Right
books.
here, right now.
Right.
Don't go nowhere else. I got them right here.
Right.
Set 375 years in the future, and a storyline that has to do with the present, the past, and the future. This is all here. Like, you want to see the future? It's right here. Don't go nowhere else. It's right here.
And it's in,
All right,
so buy it.
Aaliyah, what you got?
Just to piggyback off what he said, independent content creators, that's the future. So I look forward to those content creators becoming mainstream, having their own lane, where, you know, you have, you already have film awards for independent film, Sundance and things of that nature, you know, and we need the same thing for what we do.
And you know, there's precedent for that, right? Especially with Kickstarter. I'm looking at the Expanse comic book, which is probably 20 days left on their Kickstarter. It's close to $1 million, right? They did, this is not the first Expanse comic book, right? They did a 4-issue run that I don't think broke 1,000 copies. But now, because of it being perceived as being independent, it's over almost at $1 million. It was 800,000 a couple of days ago. And that's before people like Troy even got it, right? That's just regular comic book people. To answer your question, Leah, there's a writer, Brandon Sanderson, right? And I think he wrote The Wheel of Time. That's his brand. He wanted to finish his series. His publisher didn't. He went independent and offered 2 more books on Kickstarter. He went close to 2-something million in one day, in the first day. So now we have the means to do what your favorite singer, Prince, didn't do, is to make it to the global market independent of mainstream, right? Independent of the gatekeepers. You can go around the gatekeepers. So we'll see a lot of that. Shout outs to NV Media, John Jennings. I'm just gonna drop some names out there. Of course, Rodney Barnes, Tiana Reeve, and Steven. These are people that I know that are pushing it.
Right.
And of course, my name is in there as well. All of my people, and I'll put lists up there, but social media has allowed us to connect. I have a book on there where we have a black secret agent anthology. Everybody wrote their own secret agent. To heck with 007 and Mission Impossible. You can get your enjoyment. 007 started in a book.
Oh,
Yep. So Troy has the last word, and thank you very much.
2 questions. We need 2 answers here. What in the world was wrong with Black Adam, and what happened to Henry Cavill? Why? Why?
I didn't see Black Adam.
I like Black Adam. I don't know what was wrong with it.
I don't know. They trashed it, didn't they?
They did, and I couldn't figure out why.
It wasn't that good.
I even sent a message to The Rock. I'm like, I loved it, man.
He liked it.
The problem with Henry Cavill is writing for him. I mean, he's obviously Superman, but they can't do it with 80 years of content. They can't seem to make one decent Superman.
And I think the
Man of
reality
Steel was
is
good. I love Man of Steel.
Right.
I thought Man of Steel was really good.
He's excellent.
Oh, he
He's
is.
as good as Christopher Reeve.
maybe it's financing. Go ahead.
Here's why I thought Black Adam was really good, and we debated about this for a bit because we just saw it too. Black Adam had a unique storyline. I had not seen a superhero film with that storyline
I agree.
in probably my whole life. So when I saw it, I was kind of thrown sideways. It's like, this was not your conventional guy becomes a superhero, he fights bad guys, he comes into some problems, but then he overcomes it and he wins. That was not the storyline, and that's why I liked Black Adam.
All right, and I think sometimes, and I'll say this, sometimes people can be too light, and when people get too light, they generate haters.
Yeah,
And I think
right.
that's what happened to The Rock. He got haters, and he flexed his power in getting this thing made, and it overshot, the Snyderverse, which I don't like that much. I like Black Adam better than the Snyderverse.
Wow.
It's definitely more diverse. I'll put it there. So I think that's what happened. All right, we can talk about this in the next one. All right, guys, the cosplay is next. Appreciate it. Thank you all for coming. Oh, yeah. Let me get my comments over there. Yes.